What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the Premier League SPUR-SPECTIVE, which is the review show from Predict the Prem, where me and my brother go head-to-head in predicting Premier League outcomes. Scores at the moment are 263 to Sim, 274 for me, and the way the scoring works, it's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result, and the star man as well. Once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the remainder of the season, and it's 5 points for a goal, 3 points for an assist. And let's get into the first game of the weekend, which was Manchester United against Everton, which finished 2-0 to Manchester United on the day. Sim went 3-0, I went 2-0. And I get a big fat 5-pointer for this one. Marcus Rashford is pulling through and getting injured in this game. Apparently he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how bad his injury is. But he did limp off, and Ten Hag said it didn't look great. Man United battered them. It should have been 3. I'm going to be honest. It should have been 3 in this game. Pickford had a mad game. How many saves did he make in this game? It was infuriating to watch, especially because I had Bruno as well as star man. That really, really pissed me off.
Man United's XG on the day was 3.46.
They should have had the third. They should have easily had the third. They didn't get it. To be fair, though, at 1-0, they had missed a host of chances, Man United, and at 1-0, Everton actually did have a couple of chances to make it, to level it, although it would have been undeserved. I think Sims had a chance. They had also some chances from set pieces. They couldn't make the most of it, and then Man United killed the game late on. A really bad mistake from Seamus Coleman, and allowed Rashford to square it to Martial, and that made it 2-0. It was a battering.
Should have been out of sight at half time, really.
Yeah, that first half, I've never seen Man United miss so many chances. Anthony missed about 2 one-on-ones. Rashford missed a host of chances as well. Sabitzer was having shots on goal. Look at 11 shots on target throughout the whole game. Pickford probably one of his better games of the season. Everton gave a good fist of it at 1-0 to try and get back in the game, but never really looked like they were going to do it. And Man United fully deserving of their victory, so pretty good. But if Rashford is out for a considerable amount of time, that will have a big effect, because they're so heavily relying on him for goals, and not just that, just for them to be looking dangerous and stretching the opposition. They're very reliant on him. So if he is injured for a while, could Sancho step in and really provide what Rashford is providing? I think Sancho can obviously be a good player, but is he going to provide the goals for Rashford? Because he seems to be scoring or assisting every single game, Rashford.
There is no chance that they can survive, I don't think, without Rashford. It's basically like with Harry Kane being injured for us, I think it's going to be a similar kind of impact that it'll have on Manchester United. He is the one that is pulling through for them every single week, and there's no chance Jadon Sancho can come in and bring in even half the goals I think that Rashford's bringing in.
I think for home game, I don't know what their fixtures are left, but I think for home games and stuff, they should be especially against easier opposition. They've got home games against the likes of Wolves, maybe Fulham. They should be all right in those kind of games. When you go away to Brighton, home to Aston Villa, away to even Forest, who are quite good at home, those are maybe the games where they might really miss Rashford.
Yeah, I think so, but we'll have to see how it plays out, because they're fighting on all 3 fronts, and it actually could hurt them even more than just this top 4 race, because you're looking at Europe now, you're looking at the FA Cup with Man City still there. A lot to be played for Manchester United, and this Rashford injury couldn't have come at a worse time, really.
Yeah, definitely. Terrible news for them.
Moving on to Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest, finishing 2-0 to Villa on the day. I went 3-0, Sim went 2-1, so both of us getting 1 pointer here, and both 1 goal away from 5 pointers here. But look, I thought Aston Villa were pretty much dominant throughout and deserved the 3 points, but Aston Villa did have a few breakaways, and they did miss a few presentable chances that came their way. So it could have been a different day if Nottingham Forest, had their shooting boots on the day, but they didn't. And I think Aston Villa took 3 deserved points here.
Yeah, their away form is just absolutely horrendous, isn't it, Forest? I think they had the worst away form in the Premier League, and it showed again. I didn't see much of the game. I saw a lot of the highlights. I was following it a bit. It didn't seem Villa were particularly fantastic in this game. It was just one of those where it was like a professional performance. Didn't give too much away.
They had control throughout.
Yeah, but they didn't give too much away. They didn't create too much, but they scored. Who scored the first goal? Bertrand Traore. That was a really bad mistake, that goal from Bertrand Traore from Jonjo Shelvey. second goal in a week he's been gifted.
Yeah.
Bertrand Traore, really, albeit the first goal was a really good finish. This one was a lot easier, but sometimes it just goes for you in that sense. It seemed to be a fairly tight game before then. He scored the opener, and then from then on, Forest tried to get back in the game, and they sealed it in stoppage time, didn't they? Another good goal by Ollie Watkins.
First of all, what a job Unai Emery is doing, and what a form Ollie Watkins is in. I mean, since Emery has joined the club, Ollie Watkins has just really blossomed. He really has, and he's playing a different role under Unai Emery now than he was under Steven Gerrard. I think Gerrard made him get much more involved in the build-up play and come a bit deeper and really kind of get involved, but Unai Emery has basically told him, shove in the box, be a bit of a goal hanger, and pick up the scraps, and he's winning it. He's coming on for it.
Definitely, and his finishing ability is definitely been on show over the last few weeks. He's in a really rich vein of form. It was one of those where it did look like it was going to work out for him this game, but in stoppage time he gets his opportunity, and what composure to chip it over the keeper as well in that position. Fantastic finish, and you have to say he's on great form, and now 6 points off Spurs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy to think about. I mean, what a job Unai Emery is doing there. You've got to give him all the props because he deserves every. I mean, the way they just chucked him away at Arsenal, I mean, it proves that, like, if you do a bad job at a top six club, like, your career shouldn't be tarnished or ruined because of it.
Yeah, he's a top manager. You don't win that many European trophies as he does without being a top manager.
Very good appointment. Next up, Brentford against Newcastle. 2-1 to Newcastle on the day. I went 1-1. Sim went 2-2. Again, both of us one goal off a 5-pointer here, but both of us get 1 pointer. And look, you've got to give top credit to Newcastle because they keep plugging away. 1-0 down at half-time, backs against the wall against a really good Brentford side, and they come up with 3 points yet again.
Yeah, and it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because first half, Brentford were all over them, really, and they had 2 penalties, one missed by Tony, the other one scored. They also had
first missed penalty, by the way, in his career.
Yeah, unbelievable. And they also had a goal ruled out for VAR in the first half as well. So it could have been out of sight, really, in that first half. Newcastle kind of hung in there, but what they did is they made a crucial change. First of all, the penalty that was given, the second one, I don't think VAR should have given that. I think it was a bit of a dodgy decision, the one that Isaac gave away, and it was a bit of a high boot, but it's one of those where I don't think VAR should have been getting involved. But then they brought on Wilson at half-time. They did something they haven't done before, which is partner Isaac and Wilson together for that second half, and it really worked for them. All of a sudden they had that double presence in the Brentford half, and Brentford struggled to deal with that double presence and both strikers, and they linked up together. And Wilson made a big difference. He assisted Isaac. He nearly got a goal himself, but was ruled out for handball. As well, Joel Linton, he forced an own goal from Raya, and that really changed things. However, it did change things, but for the last part of the game, Brentford really did pile on the pressure, and they were very unlucky not to equalise. Pope made a good save, and Tony with a big miss, I think, right at the end of the game.
Yeah, and if you want to make top 4, these are the games and these are the results you need to pull through. You know, when your back's against the wall, coming under pressure for large parts of the game, but coming away with 3 points at a very tough away game. I mean, it's a signal for me that Newcastle are not going to let anything up in this top 4 race.
They're on fire. 5 wins in a row.
They really are. And yeah, we got to go there soon, so see what happens there. But no, none of us get a point for this one, both of us predicting draws. Let's move on to Fulham against West Ham. And I think probably for the first team this year to be on the beach in the Premier League is Fulham. And West Ham, a really important 3 points, getting themselves even further away from that drop now. And I think it's safe to say, I said it last week, I think West Ham will be completely fine in this relegation scrap, and it looks that way. And both of us going for draws, but credit to West Ham for getting that 3 points.
Yeah, they got it. I have to say it was a very, very subdued Fulham team. They didn't really offer much during the game, and it was one of those where if they played them at a different time in the season, it maybe would have been different. But this time, West Ham kind of over the line, especially without Mitrovic. It just seems like without Mitrovic, they missed that cutting edge going forward. Vinicius just doesn't really provide it, and they're not the most creative team anyway. So Mitrovic did so well getting things from set pieces and headers and things like that, and holding the ball up. And when you miss that presence and you have Vinicius instead, you can see how much they're missing him. It's 4 defeats on the trot now for Fulham and a draw.
But when you're at this stage of the season, you're in no danger of going down. You can't go any higher, really. I mean, it's hard to keep motivation, I'm guessing, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but as long as you have someone like Mitrovic, I'm not saying it would have changed it massively, but at least he can feed off scraps, whereas Vinicius, like, he's a lot easier to defend against. They did have that, so West Ham did take the lead with an own goal as well. They didn't even score themselves. It was a Bowen with a cross, Reed puts into his own net. And Fulham did have the chance to equalise. Pereira goes through one-on-one and he tried to take it round Fabianski, but Fabianski gets a big touch on it, and ultimately the chance goes begging, and that was all really Fulham had when it comes to big chances throughout the game. They did have a couple chances on set pieces, but at the end of the day, West Ham held strong, and despite losing 5-1 to Newcastle at home, they have on the either side of that, they have two very crucial 1-0 victories, and that will stand them in good stead. They are in a good position now in the league, albeit they're 14th, but still only 3 points above the drop zone, so definitely not completely safe, but I wouldn't be surprised in maybe 2 or 3 weeks' time we're talking about them being 6 or 7 points clear.
Totally agree. Moving on to Leicester against Bournemouth. Both of us getting it wrong, but Sim went for 1-1. I went for 2-1 to Leicester. And Bournemouth went to the King Power and took all 3 points in a massive game down at the bottom. And if you're a Leicester fan, alarm bells must be going off ferociously. Yeah,
because it wasn't a case of smash and grab at all from Bournemouth. They really deserved the victory, and that's got to really worry Leicester, that you're at home against a relegation rival, one of the weaker ones as well, and you're just off the back of some really bad results. This is a big opportunity to go and get 3 points, and they could barely muster an opportunity in this game. And not only that, but your best player gave away the goal. Maddison passed it back, and literally it was a Steven Gerrard moment, playing Billing through on goal, and Billing sticking it away 1-0. Bournemouth thoroughly deserved the victory. It was a really good performance from them. They created the better chances. They were the ones making the running, and Leicester, unfortunately for them, they really suffered on the day, and unfortunately they deserved defeat, and there are now talks of finally getting a manager on board, but they're sinking without a trace at the moment. They're sinking like a stone, and 19th at the moment, 2 points adrift of the relegation, so they can get over it with one win, but you've got to be very worried for them if they're going to be putting in performances like that at home to Bournemouth, or with Man City away coming up.
Absolutely, they need a saviour, and they need it now. They need someone to come in and steady the ship, because they got good players in there, Leicester. They should be nowhere near where they are right now. And when you're looking at Bournemouth, Leicester have got a much better team, but much better squad than Bournemouth. But the way Bournemouth are together, they're pulling out results. Gary O'Neill, in his first job in management, is doing a fantastic job, because only a few weeks ago people would have said Bournemouth are absolutely nailed on for this drop, but they're giving themselves a big fighting chance to stay up.
3 wins in the last 5, which in this relegation run is actually pretty impressive form, and especially for a team like Bournemouth who have come up for the Championship. They're doing well. I have to say, Philip Billing the last few weeks has really come into his own. He's playing like that kind of Marouane Fellaini role, where he's like a centre mid, but he's playing more advanced. They're getting the ball to him because he can compete physically, but he's actually a bit better technically than Fellaini, and he's good. And he's pretty good. He's actually having a good season, and they've got those 2 wide forwards. And I tell you what, Solanke's playing very well as well right now. He's looking like a real handful. So they're playing well. Bournemouth, you've got to give them a lot of credit. It's still going to take a big effort to stay up, but they're doing their bit right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Tottenham against Bournemouth, finished 2-1 to Spurs on the day. I went for 2-2. You went for 3-1 to Bournemouth. I tell you what, I wasn't too far away from 5 points in this game, because it definitely should have been a Brighton.
I wasn't too far away from 5 points in this game, you know what I mean?
At least I got the number of goals that Spurs scored was
true.
Right. But now, look, we've covered this game to death, but very lucky 3 points for Spurs, where a lot of refereeing decisions went our way when they maybe shouldn't have, and Brighton are going to feel massively aggrieved coming away from this game.
Yeah, they'll be super annoyed that they didn't get anything out of this game, not even a draw, considering that they were the better team. Not only were the better team, that they had all those refereeing decisions go against them as well. And as well, like, they got undone by 2 moments of quality, which, especially the Son goal, there's not much they could have done about it. The second goal, really good finish from Kane, but they just got caught out on a transition. Very frustrating from Brighton's point of view. Spurs will take the 3 points and run with that, because it was a bit of a smash and grab, and we got away with one a bit.
Absolutely. So no one gets any points for that one. Next up, Wolves against Chelsea. 1-0 to Wolves at Molineux. Sim went 1-0 to Chelsea. I went 1-1. But Frank Lampard's return ain't a happy one. 1-0 defeat at Molineux, and when you thought it just can't get any worse for Chelsea, it does, and they go on and lose against not a great Wolves side, let's be honest.
And it's not great preparation for Real Madrid in midweek, is it? It was a bit of a strange one because Lampard's come in. This is his first game. The whole point of Lampard coming in is just get a good feeling around the club, and the season is pretty much over anyway, apart from obviously still the Champions League, but from a league point of view, season's pretty much over. So it's kind of just like, let's have a bit of fun, try and go attacking and try and score some goals and get a good feeling around the place. But they were atrocious, Chelsea. They barely had a shot on goal. They were terrible. There was no good attacking football. There was no chances created. And to be honest, I have to say, they were much worse than I've seen them under Potter. Much worse, and it calls into question what the use of it was. Because I actually thought under Potter, despite the results not being great, the performances were getting better. They were creating chances. The big question was about they just couldn't put away those chances. And yes, they were making mistakes to the back, but the big thing was they were creating chances, but the finishing was terrible. They didn't even have chances in this one. They couldn't even create them. So for me, that's got to be a big alarm bell. What was the point of it?
Let's be honest. Sacking Potter to replace him with Lampard for the rest of the season makes as much sense as sacking Conte and leaving Stellini in there for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me because at least with Potter, if you leave him in charge from now to the end of the season, at least there's a chance, look, you can turn things around and there's maybe something that can happen going into next season. But by sacking him and putting in Lampard, you're pretty much just wasting time at this point. There's no point to the end of the season. You're not going to win the Champions League. Lampard's not going to be here next season, so there's literally no point to the end of the season. At least if you keep Potter in charge, then at least there's an outside chance he can turn results around, and maybe with a view of things turning around for next season, with a view of that. But now that's not even given that a chance. Yeah. And as well, Lampard's gone to a back four when I thought Chelsea was starting to look a bit better in a back three. I thought like Felix and Havertz, they were getting them more involved and they were starting to create chances and look better. Now they've ripped that up. They've gone to a back four. They've started again tactically, and now they look absolutely lost. So for me, I think things are, for me, they might get a few results around to the end of the season, but I think they could very well be in for a bottom half finish.
Bottom half finish, you reckon?
I think they could, with the way Villa are going at the moment.
If you look at the league, I mean, they're 11th right now. Mm-hmm. I think they finish above Fulham this year.
Yeah, I guess they're lucky Fulham are on the beach right now as well.
I think they finish above Fulham, but I can't see them finishing above Villa, Brighton, Liverpool or Brentford. So I think 10th destined for 10th. Where they finished.
Destined for 10th. There's going to be a shootout, the West London shootout between Fulham and Chelsea.
Mighty stuff in West London, going 9th or 10th this season. But let's move on to Southampton against Man City. 4-1 to Man City on the day. 4-0 I went for. Sim went 3-1. And I should be having that 5 points, man. A goal out of absolutely nothing.
I should be having the 5
in the
points,
second half for Southampton. Absolutely nothing that goal came out of. But to be fair, I think this was pretty much a demolition job for Man City throughout. But Southampton did well holding on till in the latter stages of that first half. But once the goal came in, you knew the floodgates was going to open. And that goal from Erling Haaland, man.
Oh, beautiful.
Unbelievable. And Jack Grealish just keeps getting better and better as well.
Yeah, he's really turning it on. And he's really starting to find his feet now at Man City. It feels like he's getting those regular goal contributions that we thought he should be getting with his quality. And I thought he tore Southampton to shreds. Man City just looked so composed. It's like, even though they went most of the first half without scoring or creating real clear-cut opportunities, they just never panicked. They always had control over the game. And once they got the lead, as you say, it was only a matter of time before they went and got more goals. And it was fairly easy in the end, wrapped up with that brilliant goal from Erling Haaland. That made it 3-0. That sealed the victory. And then there was a couple of goals later on. But brilliant showing again from Man City. And they look like they're oozing confidence at the moment. The wins are coming very easy to them right now, and they're not panicking. They're showing brilliant football. They're scoring loads of goals right now, and they look unbeatable. They don't look, and as well as like they've got such a big squad. It's like it doesn't matter who they bring in or take out. They've got such a massive squad that you just feel like it doesn't matter who they play. They're gonna give you you're gonna be under the cosh for the whole game. And great performance, Grealish man of the match. He was a standout.
Yeah, Next up, Leeds against Crystal Palace. 5-1 to Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson really getting to grips with things in his return. 2 games. I think in his third game or second game.
Second
I don't know,
game. I think 2 wins in a row.
Unbelievable from Roy Hodgson. Everyone said with Roy Hodgson coming back, that could be the kiss of death for Crystal Palace. But it looks as though they have pretty much saved themselves already, maybe. But Leeds, 5-1 defeat. And this was a strange game, wasn't it? Because Leeds come out the traps really well. You're thinking that Leeds are really going to put it on this Roy Hodgson team today. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Palace score. And then the floodgates open and it was a complete battering.
Yeah, Leeds is one of those teams, though, because they do this high press and high energy style of football. But when if they drop in that energy and then they drop in that pressing, all of a sudden they become very easy to play against. That's what happened in the first half, full of energy, full of running. But then as soon as they started to slow down a bit, Palace absolutely took them to the cleaners, and it became the Eze and Olise show in that second half. Olise actually 3 assists in that second half. Became the youngest ever player to get 3 assists in a game, which is really impressive. And he's actually on great form right now, Michael Olise as well. He's playing really, really well. Obviously, him and Eze linking up a few times during that half and showing that they maybe don't miss Zaha as much as people thought they would, or I thought they would. And they really start to purr in that second half, to be fair to them. And really impressive thing. Leeds' point of view, they could have been 2 up in that first half. They didn't take their chances. And as soon as they got a setback, they let their heads drop, and it was losing 5-1 at home to a relegation rival is not good news for them. I'm sure they'll take it, and there'll be other battles, and there'll be other games where they play like that, and maybe they are 2-0 up in the first half. But it's got to be alarm bells how they capitulated in that second half so badly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I was trying to get up what fixtures that they have, Leeds, because I was interesting to see, because it's not looking good for them. I mean, the teams that it's not looking good for at the moment, for me, Southampton, Leicester, Forest, Leeds and Bournemouth. I actually think Everton are going to be okay with the home form that they're showing.
Yeah, Leeds have... They got Spurs, they got Newcastle, they got City.
They got Leicester next.
And they've got Liverpool as well. No, they don't have Leicester. They got Liverpool at home next. But
Liverpool at home.
Yeah, which to be fair, Liverpool away aren't that great. But but they've got some tough games. I can't see too many wins there, to be honest. So they're really going to have to step up if they're going to get save themselves.
Writing could be on the wall, but at least like in the next 2 games, Liverpool have been terrible away from home this season.
Yeah, so they got a chance.
And Fulham as well are kind of on the beach at the moment. So if they can pick up that 6 points the next 2 games,
it's a big ask to get 6 points in those games.
You never know. But it is a big ask. But anyway, let's move on to the big game this weekend, which was Liverpool against Arsenal. What a game of football. Breathtaking from start to finish. 2-2 on the day. Sim went 3-2 to Liverpool. And you know what? Wasn't too far away from 5 points in this one.
Ramsdale, world-class saves away, I think.
I went 1-1, so I gain a point for this one. But what a game of football. The way Arsenal came out was very impressive. I mean, they dominated Liverpool, went 2-0 up. And then after that spell of dominance for about half an hour, 35 minutes, I thought Liverpool came into the game really well and definitely should have won the game. That's how dominant they were. I mean, Arsenal kind of bottled it and shat the bed a bit in that second half, and they couldn't find a way to really hurt Liverpool. They had a couple of breakaways, but apart from that, I mean, Liverpool were just so dominant in that second half, and I've never seen like Arsenal be suffocated like that this season.
Yeah, it was one of those where for the first, as you say, first half or first 40 minutes, Arsenal were at their absolute best. They were absolutely brilliant. I have to give them credit. Liverpool could not get in the game. Liverpool were pretty atrocious, and Arsenal were aggressive. They were the ones on top physically. They were forcing Liverpool into mistakes, and it was like a really good away professional performance from a young side. And you're looking like, this is the kind of performance of champions, it seemed, after 40 minutes. And from a Spurs fan point of view, you got to be really worried watching that. But they did get that goal just before half time, and that kind of gave them the confidence. It riled them up. It riled up the crowd as well, just before the break. And it's exactly what Liverpool needed, to be honest, just going into half time. Because if they go in 2-0 down, I think it's very tough to see them getting back into it. But that goal, the crowd are up. You had the linesman elbowing Robertson, which was I don't know what that was all about. It was absolutely madness. But I think that helped as well, rile Liverpool up even more in a way, because you kind of was kind of like, oh, the officials against us, everyone, you know, kind of thing, and it got everyone riled up, and that they really took it all out on Arsenal in that second half, because Arsenal barely had a kick in that second half. That was like Liverpool, you know, of last year, or you know, coming there was absolutely like that was Liverpool at their very best in that second half. And they were making chance after chance. Ramsdale, Mo Salah missing that penalty to make it 2-2.
He missed so many big chances.
Yeah, he was frustrating.
Well. He was so frustrating. If you had Mo Salah on form on that game, I promise you that game could have finished about 5-2 to Liverpool.
I think if Salah scores that penalty, Liverpool definitely win that game, 100%. They should have even won it, even when they equalised. I said to my friend, I was watching it with an Arsenal supporting friend. I said, if Liverpool get I said it was in the last 10 minutes. I said if Liverpool get one, they'll score two, and they did get one. And Firmino with the header, and they definitely should have had two, because Ramsdale, I have to give him credit, because that save from Salah's deflected shot. I said Lloris's save yesterday was one of the saves of the season. I actually think he tops it with that save, because I don't know how he gets it.
He's the reason.
I don't know how he gets it.
Don't take 3 points in this game. He is the sole reason why Liverpool don't take 3 points in this game. And
if that doesn't win save of the season, I don't know what will, because that's a world-class save. And then Konate, I know Ramsdale will get credit because it's also a very good save, but that has to be down as a Konate miss. 100%. What is he doing? Yeah. What is he doing? Get it, just batter it in. He doesn't know what to do. He's around us. He tries to chest it in, and he didn't get the power on it. And then what's mad as well is, from that chance, Arsenal had a 3-on-1, and it was madness. It was like that could if they would have scored that would have been the title right there. I think if they would have got that counter attack right, and they didn't. But I think they probably come away from this game relieved of getting a point in the end, because Liverpool were absolutely imperious in that second half.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because if you're an Arsenal fan or an Arsenal player coming away from this, you're like, we were 2-0 up, so is it a point gained or is it 2 points dropped? Because you're 2-0 up in the game at Anfield, playing really well, completely dominating them, but the way Liverpool came on strong in that second half, I mean, you're lucky not to lose it.
I think in this scenario, you have to say it's 2 points dropped, just because the title race, how close things are, and it's now out of their hands. It's gone from in their hands before the game to out of their hands.
It's in their hands, and it's also in Man City's hands. It
is, but if you're weighing it up, if you're looking at that game, because it goes down to the game of the Etihad essentially, and Man City will go into that game favourite. So if you're weighing it up, it's more in Man City's hands than it is in Arsenal's hands. That's the reality. But both teams will say it is in their hands, of course. But after that draw, has the momentum swung in City's favour now?
I think so. I think that City are the favourites now, just because you're looking at that game at the Etihad, and Man City at a game at the Etihad against no matter who it is at that stage of the season, you back them to win it. It doesn't matter who they're playing.
And they've
against.
Just been in this situation so many times where they need to win all their games. They've just done it so many times.
And it's not just that. You're looking at the two fixtures of the two clubs as well. It looks as though Man City have the slightly favourable fixtures. Arsenal got to go to Newcastle. They got to go to the Etihad. They got to welcome Brighton to the Emirates. Man City, they got to welcome Arsenal. They got to go to Brentford last game of the season, which actually could be tough if Brentford are not on the beach. So I mean, and they've also got to go away to the Amex. Man City, I think they do. So look, both teams have hard fixtures, but I think that when you're taking into account everything and you're looking at Man City have been done that for the past 2-3 years, or much longer than that actually. I think you favour more with Man City at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I just think when push comes to shove, when it really matters, like for example, like last season when Arsenal, when push came to shove, when they had to go to Newcastle, not just draw, they had to win the game. They couldn't do it. And is the same going to happen this year? When they have to really go and actually win a game, like to win a title or something, are they going to do it, or is it just going to be too much for this young side? And I think it will be too much at the end, especially with given City's experience and how they've been here and done it so many times before. You just got to say, I think if Arsenal would have taken 3 points yesterday, I would be sitting here saying, I actually think they'll do it. Yeah. But because they just couldn't get over the line, they kind of bottled it in that second half. I can't see anything but a City title now.
Yeah, and also you do have the factor in that Man City do have other competition. They got Champions League and FA Cup to play. Yes, I know their squad is more equipped than anyone else's in this situation, but it's still a factor, isn't it?
It is a factor, but it's not like it's not like Arsenal where if a player comes out, their player on the bench isn't anywhere near a quality. It's like if Mahrez is injured, they've got Bernardo Silva to come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
They've got unbelievable quality. If Rodri could get a bad injury, and then they've got Calvin Phillips to come in. It's like they've just got unbelievable quality. So yes, it's a factor because they're just maybe congestion, but in a way it could help them because if they do get a bad result, like anywhere in the season, they've got game like in midweek straight away to put it right. Whereas Arsenal, they'll have to mull over it for a week and a bad result.
I don't even know if there's going to be any room for error from now until the end of the season. I don't think there will be.
No, I have to wait and see. But I don't think the fixture congestion. If there's anyone in the world football who can handle fixture congestion, is Man City.
That's what I'm saying. Of like this team, it probably suits them the most out of everyone, but it's still a factor.
Yeah, I guess
because even in these tight stages, at this stage of the season where it's so tight, even those small percentages is going to make a difference.
Yeah, I guess. But they could change a whole 11. It wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, I get that. But anyway, let's move on to the star men. Sim went for Bruno Fernandes, 0 goals, 0 assists, and a 2-0 win for Manchester United. And I went for Jack Grealish, 1 goal and 1 assist for the man in form.
Both players getting man of the match as well. But my player, he got man of the match. He laid it on a plate for so many players, and they just kept missing the chances. He had chances missed as well. Pickford saving a lot of his chances. So he got man of the match, but he didn't get a goal contribution. So it's sickening for me. And I nearly picked Grealish as well. So.
Yeah, and Jack Grealish probably had his best game in a Man City shirt.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He's getting better and better as the season progresses. But yeah, a bit of a gap opening up against him.
24 points. Look, still 8 games to go. A lot of football to be played. A lot of 5-pointers up for grabs. But yeah, it doesn't look like pretty reading at the moment. But enjoy while it lasts.
I will. Thank you everyone for watching today. That is your Premier League perspective. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always,
come on you Spurs.